Please don't come to the party this year. Amanda's in-laws are visiting and it would be uncomfortable. The text from my mother glowed on my phone at 11 p.m., the night before the party. I stared at it, hand trembling, my carefully wrapped gift sitting mockingly on the coffee table. My name is Kate Mitchell. I'm 32 and I'd just been uninvited from a party by the very parents whose house I had saved from foreclosure 3 months ago. The same parents who accepted my help when I emptied my life savings to cover their $100,000 debt. Uncomfortable. I typed back, though I already knew what she meant. Amanda, my perfect younger sister, had married into the Wilsons 6 months ago. Old money, Mayflower lineage, the kind who judge everyone by pedigree. You know how it is, dear. Mom's response came quickly. The Wilsons are very particular about family image. Amanda doesn't want to explain your situation. My situation. That's what they called it now. Choosing to be a firefighter, a life of service, instead of climbing the corporate ladder like Amanda. Never mind that my situation had kept them from losing everything. I glanced at the manila envelope on my desk, filled with paperwork proving how I'd cleared their debt. Dad's desperate calls still echoed in my head. Katie, please. We're losing the house. Your mother can't handle this. Amanda's wedding drained us. The bank won't extend the loan. I had transferred every penny of my savings that day, $100,000 I'd been setting aside for my own future. They cried, hugged me, promised to repay me somehow. Mom had called me her guardian angel. Though I was an embarrassment. Another text buzzed. It's just one party, honey. Amanda says the Wilsons wouldn't understand your career choice. And you know how you look after long shifts. I caught my reflection in the window. The scar on my cheek from a rescue last year. The calluses on my hands. Not exactly the polished image for the Wilsons family photos. What about my gift? I asked, though it felt trivial now. Oh, you can drop it off next week. Maybe mail it. Amanda's mother-in-law is particular about presentations, and your wrapping is creative. Creative. Like the time I wrapped Amanda's law school graduation gift in the comic section because we couldn't afford proper paper. I'd worked double shifts that month to help pay for her party. Don't be difficult, Kate. Amanda's finally found her place. The Wilsons are connecting her with the right people. We can't risk anything. Uncomfortable. Like watching your parents lose their house. Like emptying your life savings to save them. Like being erased from family photos because you chose to save lives instead of corporate clients. I stood walking to my desk. Behind my service awards and certifications was another manila envelope I hadn't opened yet. A letter from the fire department selection committee. I'd been chosen to head a new training program. A prestigious position with a significant pay raise. I had planned to surprise them tomorrow to show my situation wasn't so bad. Instead, I was being asked to disappear. My phone buzzed again. You understand, don't you? It's just one party. Amanda needs this. Family has to make sacrifices sometimes. Family. The word tasted bitter now. How many sacrifices had I made? How many times had I stepped back for Amanda's sake? I looked at the party gift, then at the manila envelopes. Something shifted inside me. A lifetime of being the family's safety net had pulled too tight. You're right, Mom, I typed. Family does have to make sacrifices. My fingers were steady now. I'll show you exactly how much I understand that. The next morning, party day, I sat at my kitchen table with both manila envelopes open. One held receipts and transfer documents proving how I saved their house. The other contained my promotion letter, and a surprise they didn't know, the formal loan agreement I'd structured when I paid off their debt. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Merry Christmas, Mom and Dad, I said, holding up the loan documents. Since I'm not welcome at today's celebration, here's a different kind of gift. Remember these? The ones you signed 3 months ago. I explained the clauses about public acknowledgement and maintaining family relationships. Then I held up my promotion letter. I've been chosen to lead the department's new training program. 6-figure salary, more than Amanda makes at her prestigious law firm, but apparently still not good enough for the Wilsons. Mom's texts came in, pleading, but I ignored them. I attached the recording and all documents to an email and hit send. 12 minutes later, their carefully curated party imploded. First, the panic text from Mom. Kay, please, you can't do this. The Wilsons are already here. Then Dad's voice. Princess, let's talk about this. We can work something out. Even Amanda chimed in. Are you trying to ruin everything? My in-laws are asking questions. I smiled, picturing the scene. The perfectly set table, Amanda's immaculate in-laws, and my parents struggling to explain why they had hidden their other daughter. The one who'd saved their house from foreclosure. My phone rang again. I answered. Catherine, it's Amanda. Her voice was tight with anger. What do you think you're doing? Having the party my way, I replied calmly. How are the Wilsons enjoying dinner? They're not, she hissed. They're asking why Mom and Dad tried to hide their firefighter daughter. Apparently, old Mr. Wilson's father was a firefighter, and he's offended they're ashamed of your profession. I couldn't help laughing. How uncomfortable for you. Mom and Dad are mortified, she continued. And the loan? Really, Kate? You're going to hold that over their heads like you've held your success over mine for years. The difference, I shot back, is I earned everything I have, including the right to be at this dinner. Pause. Then Mrs. Wilson's voice came over the speaker. Is that the firefighter? Put her on speaker. Dear, I want to hear about her work. Amanda's sharp intake of breath told me everything. Her perfect party was unraveling, and for once, I wasn't stepping back to let her have the spotlight. Well, I asked, savoring her discomfort, are you going to put me on speaker? The next hour changed everything. Mrs. Wilson wasn't just interested in my career. She was on the board of the Firefighters Family Foundation, a charity supporting families of fallen first responders. Even Mr. Wilson, the supposedly stuffy husband, spent 20 minutes asking about my rescues and the new training program I would be leading. Young lady, his booming voice came through the speaker. Why aren't you here sharing these stories in person? Amanda, your sister is a hero. I could practically hear Amanda's perfect smile cracking. Mom and Dad remained suspiciously quiet. Yes, Mrs. Wilson pressed. Why isn't she here? Surely there's room at the table for family, especially one who's done so much. The silence that followed was broken by my father's voice, thick with emotion. Hey, Princess, can you come over? Please bring your gift. We were wrong. I glanced at my watch. Exactly 1 hour and 17 minutes for their perfect facade to crumble. I'll be there in 30 minutes, I said, reaching for my coat and carefully wrapped gift. When you arrive, I thought, we'll be having a long talk about family loyalty after the holidays. When I pulled up, Dad was outside. Before I could get out, he wrapped me in a bear hug. I'm so sorry, Katie, he whispered, voice breaking. We've been fools. So caught up in appearances that we forgot what matters. Inside, the scene wasn't cold or hostile. Mrs. Wilson immediately included me in conversation, introducing me as the family hero. Amanda sat in a corner, her perfect posture slightly wilted, while her husband actually listened with interest rather than condescension. Mom hovered nervously until I handed her the gift. A photo album. Inside were pictures of every major family moment I'd helped make possible. Amanda's law school graduation, the down payment for house repairs, family vacations I'd funded. Each photo accompanied by receipts, documentation of my contributions. I kept everything, I said quietly, because even when you didn't see my worth, I knew it. Mrs. Wilson peered over Mom's shoulder. My goodness, she said sharply. You've been the family's guardian angel, while maintaining such a demanding career. Amanda, you never told us your sister was so accomplished. Amanda's voice was small. I guess I never really looked at it that way. Well, I am looking at it that way, Mr. Wilson declared. And I think we need to make some changes. Starting with having Kate tell us about that new training program over dinner. As we moved to the dining room, Mom caught my arm. Kate, I don't know how to make this right. You start by never hiding me again, I said firmly. I'm not your dirty secret. I'm your daughter who has worked hard, saved lives, and saved this family more than once. Accept all of me, or lose me entirely. The dinner wasn't perfect. There were awkward moments, uncomfortable silences, years of hurt that couldn't be healed in a single night. But it was real. Perhaps the first real family dinner in years. As dessert ended, Mrs. Wilson raised her glass. To Kate, she said, who taught us all a valuable lesson about true family values, and to new beginnings. I caught Amanda's eye across the table. For the first time in years, she looked at me not with disdain or competition, but with something like respect. Dad squeezed my hand under the table. Next party will be different, he promised. Yes, I agreed, because now everyone knows exactly who I am, and I'm done being invisible. The loan documents stayed in my purse, unneeded. Sometimes the power to demand respect is enough. Standing together, not pushing each other away. And the next party? I already had plans. Big plans. This firefighter wasn't hiding in the shadows anymore.